Shift the gears with DD Speed Shop, we're back again with tales from the garage where the hot rods rain. Dan and Murr, they're the wrench-turning crew with Denny by their side, the podcast begins. They're talking classic hot rods and new cars too, life hacks and lifestyle and a little YouTube. It's DD Speed Shop, the podcast.
I also, if you guys feel like you don't have enough time today, I do have questions from Facebook.
People wrote in questions, you mean?
They did.
Oh, we should actually answer some of those because people did.
What are they? Or was it going to be a surprise?
I'll just read them out and you'll have to
surprise,
figure it out.
It's a surprise. Did you get your can opener yet?
Maybe.
And?
I haven't used it yet.
Whenever you're ready.
Don't.
Dan here, DD Podcast with Murr and Danny behind the camera, as per always. We're back at it, even though I think I'm probably
You didn't
wearing...
introduce Steve.
Oh, Pod Dog Steve is here. Hopefully he's good today. I think I'm wearing the same clothes I was wearing the other day, but they're washed. It is, in fact, another day.
Hard to tell.
Actually, I was talking to Danny. I want to take this one in today. It's my favorite shirt. I'm going to see if we can take it somewhere they can patch it and sew some new
That's
buttons
the one that
on.
we gave you for Christmas how many years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
And
But it's my favorite one.
I looked online today to see if they had a Mach 2 version of it or something, and they don't. So
no, they don't.
So the last one, Murray, the best can opener ever. So I bought one. I bought two. Just so, there you go. Amazon got my $14. It was 20% off. It's actually $20 now.
Really?
Inflation. Can you believe that?
Inflation.
So I got one. I'm going to try that out.
All right. So the next time we'll have the results and see if you concur.
Yeah, I'm going to get into my can of beans.
we should actually next time bring out different cans and have a regular can opener and the fancy can opener and
Can
do
opener,
a real
or
experiment.
like a relay or a race.
Yeah.
A race, a can opener race.
The prize is whatever's in the can.
Whatever's in the can.
I got dibs on the corn. So we did the last podcast there and we ran out of time. Believe it or not, Murr had more to talk about, which is shocking.
Never would have guessed.
But so we got all sorts of stuff to go over. But one thing I want to start off with, people have asked me since day one, and I've addressed in a few different things and kind of here and there, and every time we go to any event and all that, it's how to kind of get started on YouTube and what it's all about and kind of junk like that. So I thought we could, you're always asking questions about it, so you're easy to...
Yeah, I don't know nothing.
So I don't know nothing about it. It makes no sense. I don't understand it. But I will say anybody can do it. I've said that 1,000 times before. The thing is...
Even Mortsky.
Even Mortsky can do it.
Even Mortsky.
Ugh.
Ugh.
It's like that... what was that on Corner Gas? Every time they mentioned Dogger, they all spit or something like that.
Oh, yeah, to that.
Mortsky. But we love Mortsky. We just hate him. So, anybody can do it. If you have a cell phone, and I think you can do it all on your cell phone. You can film it, you can edit it, you can upload it. I think you can do every single thing. But computer makes it easier for setting some of the fine-tuning stuff up on YouTube. But, do that or start with short stuff, shorts, Instagram Reels, TikToks, whatever it may be. I don't understand that stuff. What I do, I think, is more longer format kind of stuff. Steve, quit licking your stuff there. But
Stephen is not a professional today.
hopefully he's out of frame.
He's out of frame.
Nobody wants to watch
Nobody
that.
needs to see that. No.
So I think that's the thing. At the end of the day, your first 50 videos are probably going to be terrible. The only people who are going to watch is your family and friends and stuff like that, and that's just how it's going to be. I feel like when I got into it, it's been 4 or 5 years now. 4 or 5 years ago, it was kind of really different. I think not a lot. You're a YouTuber, which I never really felt like we were YouTubers. But now, everybody and their dog is doing it. All the Richard Rollins and the TV guys and everybody has a YouTube channel. And I think TV is dying, and that's where people are going. So we fluked it, and I will say I wish I started earlier. Even though I feel like we're ahead of the game, I wish we started 3, 4, 5 years before that.
Best time to plant a tree, 10 years ago.
Yeah. So if you're at all thinking about it at this much, just do it. Just start going. And at the end of the day, so my setup now, I should have brought it out. It's super simple. I buy whatever the newest GoPro is, I buy it, which is $600 once a year. I have a little case for it with a wireless mic and a handheld thing to hold it and a tripod. I think $1,000, $1,200 is like all you need. That's it.
And you don't have to upgrade your GoPro every year.
I'm hard on gear, so I
Yeah.
typically tend to break them, and I have my own thoughts on GoPro, but I hate them. But the newest one seems like it's the best pile that you can buy. It's ultimately where I'm at.
If you're filming flowers, it's probably not as difficult on the equipment
Yeah,
as
well,
welding and
I could be it. I mean, like, welding junk and metal spatter. I mean, like, pull the battery on. It's like they're like a magnet. It's just furry, and I'm like, it can't be good for things. But
well, I'm constantly amazed when I look at the videos because I have to by law. It's your son does it, you have to look.
Yeah.
But I look at it, and sometimes you click on it, you see the old ones, and you think, well, that was just like, it must have been a whole year and a half ago. No, it was 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it just amazes me, like how many, what you've done, how many things have come along, and I go, huh. And the fact that people, I still can't get over this, like conceivably, somebody could recognize me from being on your YouTube in Australia. Like, never been to Australia, would love to, never gonna happen, but the number of people that comment from all over the world about things, it shocks me.
well, it's very strange, and you have that like imposter syndrome or whatever, because we'll go somewhere, and I feel like we go to Power Tour, and people come up to us all the time, and they're we had like a lineup of people, like a lineup to meet me, and I'm like, guys, no need for this. Go get your candy apple. But people come up and they, you shake their hand, go, hi, Dan, nice to meet you. I know who you are, and I'm like, and I feel like the a-hole because I'm introducing myself. I'm like, well, what are you gonna be? Obviously, you know me. Like, you can't say that. Like, that's just embarrassing. Clearly, it's DD Speed Shop. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just a regular dude like the rest of you guys out there watching. Zero special.
Yeah.
I mean, you can attest to that.
Yeah.
I mean,
We still go to Canadian Tire looking like garbage. That's my favorite. Is I ran into somebody at the mall. I was just going to get my nails done, and I did not look good at all. I was in like dirty hoodie, dirty pants, hair unwashed. Oh, Queen Dee Speed Shop. I'm like, oh no.
but it's so easy.
And they were with their kid, and we had a lovely conversation, and it was very nice.
So that part of it's aside. That part's great and all those things. And I guess if that's what you're getting into YouTube, I think you're doing it for the wrong reason to get recognized. That was not the reason. I don't even know why we started, but here we are
It was
now.
to keep track of all the cars.
Oh yeah, for
When
pictures
we
and
started
stuff.
dating, you would tell me about these cars, and I don't know anything. So I'd be like, well, do you have any pictures? Do you have this? And you're like, no.
Why would I have that? I sold it.
I have the car. It's there.
And so then that's why Merv was like, well, do Google Photos. And then you're like, I'll do Instagram. And then...
And people asked. Yeah, I guess that was... it's been a long road, I guess you think about it now. But I guess you get in because you genuinely enjoy it. You'll do a lot better than if you're trying to get in for that quick hit of money or
Notoriety
notoriety, whatever it may be. So that'll be my first thing. People ask all the time, can I get a shout out and this and that? I always tell everybody the same thing now. Talk to me after 100 videos. I think after 100, and the amount of people that say that don't come back because they didn't do 100 videos. I mean, everybody wants to do 2 videos and get a shout out and stuff like that, which I'm not against. I'd like to help everybody out, but you have that, like, if I just recommend someone all the time, then it loses credibility anyways. I
Then
think.
it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, no, exactly.
If everybody's important, nothing's important.
And I know for myself, if I go watch someone's video, and I've done it many times, there's been smaller channels I've watched, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. And then they don't put another one out, or it's every 3 months they put a video out or something like that. You're like, it's hard to support the guy. You got to kind of stick with it and all that and get used to looking like an idiot and failing and having bad lighting and whatever it may be. Just like Murr was panicked about this podcast. But it goes fast because we're on number 5, right?
Yeah.
4 or 5? Yeah. And the first one, he was, it's going to be bad, and this panicked, and this and that. Meanwhile, this one was, he's like, I thought we were doing it tomorrow. I guess we'll just have to wing it, he says. It's amazing how fast you get comfortable just BSing around with the camera and kind of go from there. So I guess my advice would be, get after it, just do it. Accept you're going to look dumb, carry on. The one thing that made my life a lot easier is actually having Danny hold the camera or Murr or whoever it is. So you feel like you're talking to someone for the first little bit, because when you're in the garage, you're just talking to the camera by yourself and trying to carry on a conversation. feel like you belong in a loony bin.
I remember you saying that when you were doing that. He says, I'm in the driveway with the GoPro pointed at myself. He said, I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Kids go by on their bike. Look at the funny man. What's he doing?
It's ridiculous. So you got to get past that, but that takes a little bit. I mean, you got to be a certain kind of person, I think, anyways, to do it. And then what we're working on now is trying to do it in public. Filming yourself in public with other people around is a whole other.
You feel gross.
You feel gross.
There is, and like in all honesty, like there is a very big stigma around YouTubers and like. So even like from people that do television or just people on the internet in general, like influencers in the wild. Like, I mean, we make fun of it ourselves, right? Like there is kind of like calibers or levels of it. And we are always super conscientious of like, we don't want to turn into the gross people that are filming everything all the time because we really appreciate relationships that we're making with people. And like, it doesn't, when you first meet somebody and you have a camera in their face, all the genuineness of that interaction is gone, and we hate that.
Yeah, I don't film friends and crap like that. But if we're doing our own thing, I film everything now. And you just kind of got used to it. And, you know, if I see someone else filming now, I understand. I'm like, oh, that's what you got to do. Because you've seen the finished product. And it's like, you see the end video, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Then you got to watch, like right now is the Cleus and Cars, or whatever it is. He's doing a big race and stuff. So all the YouTubers are filming stuff and this and that. And you watch the end product. But then you watch, like on Instagram, people are just filming, and there's people everywhere walking through shots, this and that. You know, meeting people, line up selling T-shirts. You're like, hey, you just got to force your way through it and film it.
It's a different set of skills. That's what it is. It's just
something.
You know, for people saying, well, here's what I had nice macaroni and cheese for lunch today. I kind of say, But people, if you do that all the time, people are probably not going to tune in type of thing.
Yeah.
And says the guy that recommended a can opener. But we don't know how that's gone yet, but
I think people love it. I'm excited for it.
Well, we'll see. But but I think people appreciate when you're trying to do something for them. You're trying to teach them something. I always appreciate when somebody comes up to me and says, hey, you know, you're doing this wrong, or, you know, did you know about this and whatnot? Because, hey, nobody knows everything, even me, shocker. But it's and I think that's just a pay it forward thing. You know, the number of people that get whatever they get out of your car, your video, you're going to get something useful, and especially like the way you do things, the safety thing. I mean, I've said that in other podcasts. That is huge, absolutely huge, because so many people don't have a father, a grandpa, a buddy, or somebody that could help them, and you really don't want anybody to get hurt.
No, I don't want anybody to get hurt or fail. I mean, you want everyone to succeed, right. And you know, it kind of is what it is. I mean, that's how it goes out there. But I had something else in my head I was going to say, and then Mer started talking. And I totally forgot. No, I got it. It's all coming back. It's all up here. The other thing,
notes.
I should have wrote it down in size 87 font. But the other thing that you're going to get is people. I think when you first start. Not that it's negative, but people were definitely, I could do that. I heard I can do that, I don't know how many times for the first year and a half or 2 years. And, you know, you go somewhere, buy a set of wheels or something like that. I'd be like, oh, yeah, you do that YouTube, eh? Yeah, I do the same thing. My friends say I should do what you do. I just don't. I don't have time, whatever. And you had this, whatever it was. I'm like, oh, yeah, you got to play it off. You can't let it get to you. And then it's like the second you like cross that 100,000 subscriber barrier, which is ginormous. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot of work to get there.
It took 4 years for us to get there.
It's like a light switch. People are supportive. Everywhere you go, people are supportive. Like, it's unbelievable. I mean, there's some odd people on the internet that may not agree with the way I, you know, tape headliners together or something like that.
Surprising.
But I can't believe it either. But it's like right around that mark. It was unbelievable how people were like, oh, I could do this or I could do that or whatever it is.
Must be nice.
Must be nice came out a bunch as well. Oh, must be nice you have that. It must be nice you have the... Okay, it is what it is. So I guess that's my advice. Don't let people get you down. Power through. Make it happen. Just like anything.
Yeah, well, that's a kind of a universal thing. At home, I'm painting a room, so I'm repairing cracks in plaster and doing stuff like that, which is a horrible job. It's like body work on a car without the fun afterwards. But people are forever saying, you know, I could, you know, and you get a quote on something, you know, I could do this myself, but, you know, I just don't have time. So No, you couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, or, and I've been there. Like, I know I start with the giant can of crack filler and end up with a lot of dust on the floor. And a friend of mine that's a professional, like he did a whole basement, and when he was done, he swept it into one dustpan.
Yeah.
I'm on green garbage bag number 3. So there's a little.
The more
to be
you do
learned.
anything,
Yeah.
you get good at it.
It looks good on camera, but try it.
Well, I think being afraid, like being okay with failing is a big part of it too, because like we all make mistakes, and your mistakes are suddenly thrown out for the world to see, and like forever, like it doesn't go away. That throwout bearing will never leave you.
I just got the other day. Well, we were talking about a couple podcasts ago about that Chevy short box that I did or whatever. Right. There's a guy that just popped up on my thing. Why'd you do it that way? You're a hack. Like whatever it was. Yeah. That was like 4 years ago. I didn't own the truck. The video's been done. There's nothing to be learned from it. It's over. But this guy just was like, didn't even, like, how do you not look at the date and be like, 6 years ago? Idiot. Like, I could be dead. Like, anything.
Well, and that's just part of it, right? So for him, he was probably looking up Chevy trucks or whatever, and so the algorithm pulled that one into his views. Yeah. So now he's probably in there seeing it, and when you're the person putting out that content, there is a bit of like self-awareness and understanding that like not everyone is going to like you and be for you, and that's okay. Like it's fine for that. It's fine for them. But you can't let that eat at your soul and that be why you stop doing it.
Yeah, I do forget things pretty quick. I think that's another real reason we were quote semi-amateur level successful.
On the other side of that though is I also think when people are blatantly being like absolutely rude and harassing and bullying, like a line has to be drawn, and like those people get blocked and we're not upset about it.
Oh yeah, you block people.
We will block people left, right, and center if they are ruining our community.
But a lot of the people, everybody you talk to, if anyone's negative, it's never in person. It's only over the internet. For one, no, we've never had one person say one thing negative in person ever that I can remember. So whatever, who cares what happens on the internet? It's even a real person. And then, but more importantly than that, the people that are experts or really good at the stuff or whatever, they're always the most helpful and supportive.
Well, look at John and Cecil. They're such a great example of that.
They are tippy top, putting motors together, drag week champion, like the whole deal. And they're here, and we're setting valve lash with a razor blade because I don't have the proper tools. And he's just like, that's the way she goes,
And you'll be like, oh, I didn't realize this. Like, that was dumb of me. And they're like, no, that wasn't dumb of you. You just didn't know. Like, they're very protective that, like,
but even when I do it the second time, I still didn't do it. They're like, okay.
All right, now's the time. Down to Princess Auto. Get us on the feeler gauges. Yeah.
I got them. They're inside. I got it set now. Don't worry, John. I promise. But, so, I mean, it's just, you got to kind of get with it. And then do what you love. Don't try and fake it. Don't try and jump on trends. Just whatever.
Well, that's a good point. So we hear a lot of people go, the algorithm's against me. I've been blacklisted. I've been this. And there is a hard truth that everyone has to accept at one point or the other.
It's going to be what's going to be. I'm sure, I mean, will it run stuff and going to buy stuff out of, junkyards. Those videos do very well. We've done a few ourselves, and they all do quite well. But the expense and the time and the effort and then the quantity of vehicles you end up with, like there's this whole other side, which you don't realize. You have a wrecking yard full of cars. Mm-hmm. And even if the video, let's say it goes wild and makes $2,500, well, if you had to have a $1,000 car, go out there, buy a battery and gas and wiring and spark plugs and all these things, you got $2,000 into this 4-door pile of junk that's worth nothing, so then bring home and now you got to deal with it. Like it's a whole can of worms.
More than meets the eye is what you're saying.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it versus, and no, that being said, if that's what you're doing on a weekly basis, I say film it. But if you think, I'm going to do this and be the next Will It Run guy, I don't want to talk anybody off the ledge. I shouldn't even say it, but do whatever you think you want to do. But if you're in the garage,
are you able to be consistent? Is it something you're going to want to wake up and do every single day?
Yeah.
Even after like the really hard days, because consistency is a huge part of it. Like people ask how you get so much done. It's because you're out here every single day, and even after the hardest days, you come out the next day and you keep working.
Well, I still think we're, let's call it 1,000 videos deep at this point, and it's the old, everyone wants to start at step 950. Well, step 1 sucks. Like you're in your garage, hating your life, this and that, editing it, trying to smash the keyboard together because nothing's working, you lose footage, it's all shaky, it's out of focus, and then we're on step 1,000, but I think there's probably another 25,000 steps before
we still forget to turn on the audio now and again.
Yeah, and we're on some big time here.
Sometimes we forget to charge the cameras.
Yeah, I want to kill Danny twice. But whatever, it's no big deal. Anyway, so in a roundabout thing, if you at all think about it, get out there and do it, make it happen. And the second you want to give up, if you give up, it just wasn't for you. But
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. But it's like anything.
I've tried like 1,000 different hobbies and I've given up.
Yeah.
Who cares? I'll keep trying another one.
You got to be addicted to it. Yeah. There you go. That's my rant. I'm sure that'll cause 85 more questions that I'll have to answer some other time. Well, how about this? And why didn't you do that? I don't know. I come out here, turn the camera on, wear my best clothes.
Well, I think the other thing that makes it fun for you too is like you try to include like people in it so that they're part of it too. Like with Murr or with me, like you like to surround yourself with people that want to have fun with you.
Well, and that's the thing too. Man, I thought we were done with this, but we started off working on cars, and now it's the cars are just kind of there, but it's the hanging out with people and meeting people and traveling and BSing around and buying and getting deals, and that is now the fun part of it.
The thrill of the chase.
It's the old drive, not the destination.
Exactly.
There just happens to be a 55 Chevy in the thing.
Yeah.
But it's that, and it's the figuring it out, or the can you do it, or challenging yourself, and being so mad you want to push the Camaro right off the lift and start again, but then you still go out there, and then eventually it's running, and you're like, oh, okay. Like it has those. My life is just a roller coaster of emotions.
You forget about the pain.
Chick on the way up. Sometimes that's a long ride until you find, oh, that was fun. Power tour.
Yeah.
Next one. Like that's how it is. So, okay, let's talk about what you want to talk about.
I don't know what I want.
What do you got? Anything good?
Well, I don't know. I thought this is the thing we didn't get to last week, which I was quite surprised to find out about this. We had a little discussion over dinner 2 weeks ago, I guess now, when you guys were for dinner, and Dan was talking about a friend that had a new car. And that's right. I mean, not everybody can have a new car, and not everybody has to drive old junk, but the money just blew my mind, because I just have on my mind, you should be able to get, kind of a pretty nice car for like $30,000.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's
that's
not even a base model.
That's right. That's not even there. So, I mean, I got the Google machine warmed up, and I looked at 2024 Prius Prime, because that seems to be like a real popular thing for people to buy. And these are Canadian prices, so do your own Googling type of thing. But the price was $47,000.
For a Prius?
That's what I said. For a Prius?
But you look good driving it.
It's like...
Do you?
But like your generic 4-door...
That's like your Pontiac Sunfire, right?
Well,
like
it's a Toyota. It's definitely...
It's a Toyota. It's
nicer
a Toyota.
Than that.
Yeah.
But it's nothing special.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good quality thing for what it is. But I just didn't fathom that it would be that much money for that type of a car. You see them running around. If you don't have an interest in it, you don't really think about it.
But most people, but that being said, people are going in just because they don't have an interest in the cars. They just go in and they need to buy
a car.
This.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's either your generic SUV or it's a Prius or a Honda or a whatever.
Well, that's right. You have an SUV and you have some kind of a small car that you can, put the kids in, drive around, gets good gas mileage, and you have the one that you're going to take to the lake and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's not what I would call an aspirational vehicle, like,
You're hurting one person who might watch this feelings.
Yeah, I know. But I mean,
the guy who has a Prius right now is going, these idiots. Comment below.
He's writing to Elon Musk right now.
Well, I'm a grand believer in having the right vehicle for what you want to do, and probably more than one. Because
Really?
Shocker.
Never
eh?
heard of that. More than one vehicle.
Yeah.
What a concept.
Some
What
people-
about multiple of the same vehicles?
Well, that's another specific.
that really gets the
Yeah. You might
splitting
wanna
hairs,
have
eh?
that. Yeah. Well, I mean, I could see having, a 55 Nomad and a two-door hardtop and a wagon. I couldn't see having a Prius and a Prius Prime and a Prius station wagon. And
Yeah. And the first generation Prius.
And
But
that's
in like 60 years,
yeah.
would that be what the cool
I
thing is
don't-
to have?
I
is
don't
the,
think so.
The additionals?
I don't know. You're hard pressed to think of
There's
what
no-
today is collectible.
There's
I don't
no way.
Not-
A Prius Prime is not.
Yeah.
You heard it here. If 60 years from now I got to eat crow, so be it.
Yeah, well, there's gonna be a lot of people. I mean, Prius is a very popular car, and nothing wrong with that for the chosen use. Not my choice, not yours, probably not yours, but for a lot of people, that's fine. I just was so shocked at how much that thing costs.
And it's not just 50 grand, it's payments, interest.
Well,
Oh,
coincidentally,
how about that?
I looked at that's the other thing that kind of blew my little mind on this thing is $47,000 translates into $807 a month for 6 years. And that
$800 a month.
and that
6
gives you
years.
$11,166 interest you're paying.
So it's
Like
it's almost a $60,000 car. It was
Right.
47 plus 11, so 58 grand.
Yeah.
By the time it
Like-
does settle
yeah,
for a Prius.
for a Prius.
And then you got a
and also 6 years. I mean, admittedly, we're not the target demographic, and a lot of people, I mean, the very smartest thing you could do is have a car. The longer you keep it, the cheaper it gets. But
if it's not breaking down.
if it's not
on
breaking
a
down,
lemon, yeah.
that's right. And
Which, that being said, if you are going to have a long-term one, a Toyota, a Honda,
Yeah.
coming from a Chevy guy,
Yeah.
I got to say,
Yeah.
odds are that Prius will probably make it 250,000 miles.
yeah, that's right. And like when you buy your underwear, you buy the real Stanfields. They seem to do
Oh,
a good
yeah.
job. That's about it. Yeah, but that was quite a lot of money. I was quite surprised. And the other.
But think of all the money you're going to save.
Well, that's true. If you put 1 million miles on it, but let's use something like I don't know, an '88 Chevy Caprice. No, do we know anybody that has
Well,
one
ours
of
is
We
those?
don't.
89.
Ours is
Oh,
already
89.
89.
Come on, we picked the
Oh, typo. Okay.
Primo.
Yeah. So if you needed some kind of transportation type car, if you were to buy an older car in good shape, which that one is, they made a zillion billion of them, and most of them are banged and rusted and 100 million miles on them.
Yeah.
But there's just so many of them. You're going to find the one that was driven by the little old lady or the guy that doesn't drive it, or grandpa's car doesn't want to get rid of it, but he hasn't driven it in
But that
8
being
years.
said, so that car right there, we've seen a few of them now. I mean, so that car, it's an 89 with 60,000 kilometers on it, I think.
Yeah.
So 40,000 miles.
Which is amazing.
Like
but
it's next to nothing. It was the classic, drove it, didn't drive in the winter time, this and that. Then the last few years, ended up getting kind of sat outside, had a few issues, and became kind of not. You can't take it to your local Meineke to get fixed, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's troubleshooting problems.
Yeah.
So there was that early fuel injection, but anyways, I think we paid $3 grand for that thing, or $2,500. It came with shocks and a bunch of stuff. I put front brakes on it.
We
put
did
it-
have to drive 7 hours to get it.
It was a day of driving. It was a long day back and forth. We did that. But $250 in fuel.
Yeah.
But we did front brakes, have put a distributor in it, and a set of tires. So like we don't have $5,000 in that thing. And now you got a 40,000 mile car, fuel injected. It's actually decent on fuel. It's overdrive. I mean, and it's perfect.
I drive it to work downtown every single day.
So really no issues. And then I was going to say, but before that, I mean, it's going back a little while now, but Grandma's car, which I drove for a little bit and all that,
Yeah.
and you had for, which was an 84
Yeah.
four-door Cutlass.
Yeah.
But I mean, 305, nothing special, carbureted still though, right?
Yeah.
But it was fine. And honestly, that car was same thing, super low miles.
Yeah.
But that was the classic, you had the conundrum of, well, what are you doing with this thing? Like it's low mile. It started at a few little, just like the Caprice, a couple of door dings and stuff like that as the elderly.
Yeah, as grandma
Drive
along
Sometimes they hit a pole and break the front lights.
Sometimes you got to drive by feel. That's what happens.
Listen, I don't understand where these curbs keep coming from.
But anyway, so that thing, you ended up selling it to who knows who, and I'm
Yeah.
sure got beaten, and I'm sure it was $2,000, $2,500 for her to get out of it. Like,
Yeah.
Now those cars are now coming around as valuable in a different way.
Yeah.
But you can still find really low mileage. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
The Topaz, the Tempos, the Cavaliers, they're out there.
Yeah, and if something really catastrophic goes, you're taking a chance. You could fix. I mean, assuming you can't fix it yourself, well, you just roll the dice.
But I still think, like on that Caprice of Danny's, if the thing yaks a rod, I bet a motor's a $2,500 reman, and you got a brand new 305 short block in there.
Or $500 from a wrecker.
Yes.
And $500 to have somebody put it in. Yeah.
But the Toyota Prius that's 5 years old, 1 day out of warranty, and yaks a battery,
Yeah.
it's probably $10,000.
Well, more than that, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and without it, it's junk, garbage.
Yeah.
nothing.
Undrivable, unusable, and all that stuff. Yeah.
A paperweight.
So even if you factor in the excess fuel, do you have the insurance numbers?
I have the insurance numbers.
Oh, mer! What are the odds?
So, I just took the base insurance coverage, but the 88 Caprice charges $878 for insurance.
Which I will
a
say,
year,
because of my pristine driving record, I get 30% off.
which is shocking.
So that car is $650
Yeah.
to insure with good coverage, like $10 million liability, like
And-
all those things.
Yeah, which is dart cheap. And your Prius, should you buy one of them, $2,727 a year, and an extra $231 for buyer protection, because if you drive it off the showroom and
Yeah.
a clown in an 88 Caprice tender punches you, you've lost that 20% right
Immediately,
away,
yeah.
and they're not paying for that. So that's
So it's $2,000 difference per year in insurance.
yeah.
So, I mean, someone can do the math in the comments there, but that's a lot of fuel you got to burn.
That's a lot of fuel you got to burn to take that up.
like $2,000. I mean, I don't know what that Caprice gets, but it's got to knock on the door at 20 miles to the gallon or something like
on
that.
the highway, you'd probably get that, I think.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what a Prius gets, 40, 50,
Yeah.
60? I don't know. I have no idea.
There's lots of complications involved, and and Lord knows we're not suggesting everybody look for an '88 Chevy to drive instead of a new Prius.
I think you should.
But it's something to consider when people use rationalization that maybe their car that's a 2010. Well, I'll get the new 2024. It'll get better mileage and do this and that. Well, you do the math. Boy, that's
Well, that's going to become where guys have their 10-year-old truck, let's say, it's paid off, and it's needs a little bit of work, and maybe it's a little bit of rust around the wheel wells or something like that, and needs some maintenance. I mean, if you're trained though, the new one looks nice.
Yeah.
But if you threw $5,000 or $10,000 at the old truck and had a guy go through it front to back,
yeah.
it'd be a good truck again for another 10 years. Or, I mean, a new truck's got to be 70 for any sort of.
I can't imagine.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't think you're getting even a truck for $50,000 now. Like a stripper model, regular cab 6 cylinders, probably that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's. And then if you want anything whiz bang,
like a BMW.
like a BMW, yeah.
What kind of jackass
Would drive a
Beamer?
Yeah. Now, having said that, as you get along in years, you have the things that you want.
You can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you, and you're not getting it.
Speaking of getting along in years, we sponsored podcast. Mark.
Okay.
This is what's putting fuel in Danny's super inefficient Caprice. BlueChew.
Steve.
So this episode, he's really whacking his tail.
I know.
against the- we got issues
Well, you
here.
guys stop petting him.
Well, yeah.
Protecting.
Give him a bad dog. He'll stop wagging his tail. This episode is sponsored by BlueChew. Let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you were ready to go? Hey, Steve, you remember those days? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. BlueChew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in a chewable tablet. You don't even got to wrap it in meat or cheese for the dogs, Take it anytime, day or night. You can plan ahead or be ready whenever the opportunity arises. The best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. When you do order it, it comes in a non-discreet package. No one has to know, And don't be embarrassed about it.
Well, and when you
These
sign
things
up at
happen.
BlueChew, you get to
Oh,
consult
Danny.
with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days.
Oh, that's good to know, Danny. What else we got going on here? BlueChew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. I just like their...
You do walk around the house all the time. Chew it and do it.
Danny's like, we got it for the podcast. Like, oh, chew it and do it time. And weird thing to say with my father and girlfriend. But now the deal is, we got a special deal for you listeners. Try BlueChew for free. That's right, for free. And use promo code DDSS at checkout. Just pay $5 in shipping. Go to BlueChew.com. Promo code DDSS. Receive your first month for free. BlueChew.com. More details and important safety information on the website. And again, thank you so much to BlueChew for sponsoring this podcast, and hopefully many more. Because honestly, they're just good guys to deal with. And you know what? If you got to use it, you have your options out there. But if you use that one, they support us. So you're basically... Your way of supporting us is going to BlueChew.com. What a weird thing to say, but thank you so much.
There's nothing wrong with that, y'all.
Everybody needs it.
We all need a little help from our little friends sometimes.
All right, what else you got there? quick gear change.
Well, quick change.
First to reverse.
Well, just the last part of that little thing.
Oh, we're back on insurance. Okay.
Well, while I was looking at stuff on there, on the old website, in Canada where we are, and I guess parts of the northern U.S., people use a thing called a block heater, which you used to have to plug into your car so it would start when it was minus 40 Fahrenheit and Celsius. They're the
both
same.
Terrible.
Both
Equally
awful.
as bad.
Yeah. So that was a common thing, but all around about 1985, when they came out with fuel injection, cars started to start pretty easy, but whatever. Some cars still have those things. So a Chevy 305 block heater available in any store, kind of around $42, and installed to put it in wouldn't take you half an hour. So I mean, $50 maybe. So on the website, all the Canadian, and I don't know about northern US, but Canadian and cold climate Priuses come with a mandatory option of a block heater. Well, how much could a block heater cost? Dan?
I bet it's 10 times the number you just said.
$200.
$506. And it must be some kind of special block heater.
It's a small block Chevy block heater. It's right in there.
I don't know. So add another $500 to your $47,000. I don't know. Things that just surprised me, because I mean, I always like to think I have an idea of how much stuff approximately should cost, and I was very shocked at that. So
That is not cheap.
that is not cheap.
And I will say, Danny's 89 Caprice, fuel injected, started...
I didn't plug it in once
Didn't plug it
this
in
year.
once. That just has regular... The thing we didn't get into, actually, is service, which is a whole other thing. That thing has the cheapest dinosaur oil you can buy in it, 5W30, which is getting hard to find.
Why aren't you spending the money on me?
Because you bang into poles.
I mean, fair.
But that thing has the cheapest $60 oil change with, your generic Wix, decent brand filter. I'm sure the Prius is 0W3 oil, which is basically water, which I'm sure is a fortune and only from 3 places, and it's $150 for the oil change.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's just a difference in what people are going to spend their money on, and nothing wrong with having a brand new car, but just maybe do a little bit of calculating how much you're saving driving your old car. And I mean, if you really want a brand new car, that's fine.
Well, if you want it, if your dream is to have a Prius, then go get one.
Or if you don't know anything about anything, like I'd have to buy a brand new car that had like warranty and stuff like that if I was on my own, because I don't know.
There is that. Unfortunately, you can't get a warranty on an 89 Caprice.
That's
so
true.
if it does take a crap, you're now at the mercy of, hopefully someone that can look after it, or you have to go to a mechanic. And at that point, I got to think now, I mean, that car in 89, so anybody who was working on that in like the peak of their career has long since retired or possibly underground. So all the things that screw up on that are common and you know now, and like that information has been lost.
Fortunately, if there was a thing called YouTube,
Oh yeah, there you
could
go.
actually Google and find YouTube videos on all these sort of things, because that's where you're going to find
And that kind of is, I think, the magic number. I mean, probably by 95 or something like that. But in that is like the last, I think, era where you could legitimately YouTube almost any single thing on that car. And maybe it's not for 89 Caprice, but it's a 84 Cutlass.
Mm-hmm.
And to do a ball joint or whatever is the same. Like it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
But I can only imagine now if you had to Google how to do something on a 2019 electrical problem of whatever, you know, it's, you hear those stories of those, like a new F-150, the taillight doesn't work and it's the modules under the seat that got wet because the sunroof
leaked. Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
$5,000 and someone has to diagnose it versus I need an 1157 light bulb. Like
There is a few downsides. The modern electronics is wonderful, but you can have that situation, like you say, like it won't start. Well, why? Because it thinks the door's open. The door's not open.
Yeah.
No, it won't start. But close the door. The door's closed. It won't start. Like that's the type of thing, and that is can be very tricky.
Well, and I think there's a trade to that because a lot of people, you know, all the stuff I've done, we've messed with some fuel injector, we've done some LS swaps and all that. But my favorite is still a small block Chevy with a carburetor and an HEI. And the old thing, and I always say, people are like, oh, you know, do this and mileage and easy starting and this. And I think fuel injection is 10 out of 10 better across the board until you're having a problem. A carburetor will run poorly and get you home. As I learned with fuel injection, it will either work or 100% not. Mm-hmm. And we were driving the 57 there a couple weeks ago, and just the battery terminal and the negative was loose or whatever it was, and the thing just died in traffic. Right on Bishop. And I'm like, oh, great. Busy road. And I pop the hood. I'm like, whoa. And it's just like, dead. You know, so I'm wiggling the thing, and all of a sudden you hear the fan kick back on. I go, okay, well, it's clearly it fires up when we go. But I mean, it didn't like it. It had a moment.
Well, that is unfortunate that these things do happen. And it's nice to be able to fix stuff. Like the big thing came with, you know, in the early 70s, electronic ignition. That cured sure 50-60% of the no starts, because you know when HEI came out, oh boy, am I old now, that was a new thing, and you learned all about what 80,000 volts will do when you stick your finger where it shouldn't.
You feel it.
Boy, that's smart. But that made a big night and day difference in terms of toe-ins and no starts and stuff like that. Carburetors, really, as long as you buy some decent fuel and change your fuel filter, it's going to probably go.
The thing with carburetors, I think now is just either running it so it's newer fuel through it, or like stable or you know whatever stuff in the tank. Unfortunately, you got to do that, or you buy fancy gas. But if you just put 89 or whatever octane in there, let it sit for 3 years, you're gonna have a problem.
That's right. Yeah.
What else you got?
What else?
I brought nothing today.
You got nothing.
Well, you did talk about YouTube for 20 minutes.
YouTube and BlueChew, I gotta say.
So there you go.
I brought a lot to the table today.
Right?
I made the money and YouTube and all that stuff. Danny did have a couple of questions, which I know because we put a thing out on Facebook.
Yeah.
So if you don't follow us on Facebook, you can go there, and that's the easiest place for us to kind of communicate and go back and forth and read comments and stuff like that. We actually want to get back on that and sharing viewers' vehicles, stuff like that. Do you have a couple of comments off the bat?
I do.
Or do you want to get to your thing?
Well, we'll do this since I did bring this before, and you know, wasn't thinking I should have talked about this when we were talking about BlueChew, because this is what I call shrinkage.
There it is. Holy, what an awkward thing.
Here we have, camera lady, have you got these in frame?
They are in frame.
So Mer has 2 jugs of, what is it, car wash and wax.
Yeah, which is just generic car wash stuff. That's what I use to just clean the cars, and you know, on a weekly basis sort of thing.
And you're brand loyal, obviously.
And,
Turtle Wax.
Yeah, Turtle
not
Wax.
sponsored,
Yeah,
but
not
that's
sponsored.
obviously what he likes. He
That's
bought
right.
2 jugs.
Been using it for many, many years, type of thing. So, Steve, sorry. So it was on sale at the local parts store. So I was in there getting something else, so I picked it up and okay, put it in the car. So when I got home, I looked and said, this seems a little different. Looks the same. Well, it isn't really the same because if you do this, it's way thinner. Can you see that, Danny?
Yes.
Yes. So the old one had 128 fluid ounces, 1 gallon, 3.78 liters. The new one has 2.95 liters. So
they screwed
that's
you by 25%.
By 0.8 of a liter, yeah. And that's shrinkage. That is really annoying. In the Steve, you're not very helpful.
He's not happy with it either.
Oh, he's not. Unfortunately, I think that just takes advantage of, brand loyal consumers.
You know what? These are dated. This one says 01/03/22, so it's only a couple years old.
Yeah.
And this one says 13/12/23.
Yeah.
So in the matter of a year,
Yeah.
they've dramatically changed. But was it the same price or was it cheaper? Or you don't know?
This was slightly cheaper because I thought that's why I bought it, but only slightly. Normally, instead of being $17, it was $15.40 or something like that. So
He's not happy about shrinkflation.
he doesn't like it. So I think that's very annoying.
Well, I mean, a Big Mac ain't a Big Mac anymore.
Well-
I can only imagine the size of a Big Mac when you were 18 must have just been. Like, could you even finish it? I mean, I swear, like bag fries and everything must have just been unbelievable. Like, and for 39 cents, you were probably just full.
A Big Mac was a two-handed deal. Now it's like, okay.
It's like a sampler, a slider Mac, I like to call them. Yeah.
Exactly.
But yet you still feel like you can't go to the drive-thru less than $35.
It is the cheapest place to eat is still really expensive. And for people that have a couple of kids, you used to be able to go to McDonald's, it'll be fine. And what could it cost? Well, by gosh, that's a significant amount of money now for something like that. So I don't know. I think my plan is to
Carry on buying it and complain about it here.
You got it.
What really grinds Mer's gears? Find out next week.
Yeah, well, you did say I could do whatever I want. So,
I created a monster.
And when I'm talking, you're not. So there you go.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. So if they have a pretty simple calculation of so much per ounce, whatever, you could at least have an idea of how to compare. So actually, the nice people in Francais, they have a law that I don't know if it's enacted yet, but exactly about this. They are making it law that they have to have in your grocery store 2 months advance notice if they're changing their packaging to something that is not very obvious.
Did you see that Lob? I mean, totally off topic here, but Lob laws, they just reported a 10 or 15% increase in profits and stuff like that.
Yes.
Galen Weston, such a handsome man, but such a jerk.
They're trying to help us out by screwing us.
Well, and talking about shrinkflation, this isn't cars, but like groceries and stuff,
everything's a fortune.
It's unreal. Even, and like initially they kind of did try to play it off. Well, just the packaging itself is thinner. It's still the same amount of product. But then you realize, well, the thinner packaging can't hold the same amount of product because it will explode your product everywhere.
Well, and there's one thing I will say, Amazon, as much as, say what you will about there, it always has in there what the cost is per 100 grams or whatever. Yeah. And it makes it very easy to compare apples to apples. You're not going, because it's a picture, and the picture isn't always what you get. Like, well, that looks great, and it shows up in a nondescript, cardboard box with Chinese writing on it. But whatever, but you can actually look, and it's, compare it if you wanted to go any of the things, whatever it is. You want your gummy bears, it's X number of cents per 100 grams or whatever. You can kind of carry on and compare it and go, oh, that's a good deal. And you go, oh, no, it's terrible.
Or they change the number of things, like the next thing. And shall I carry on ranting?
By all means.
Okay.
We have 20 minutes
We have 20 minutes left.
Is that enough time?
So you go to the drugstore and you buy some ice cream bars, and as one is wont to do when it finally gets above zero in this fine country. So I come home and now we got a package of 5 instead of a package of 6. So that means I got to arm wrestle your mom for the last one, or buy 2 packages so we'd have 10 divided by 2. Now, I don't know. Is that a conspiracy? I think so.
What that is? Do you guys, you had boys, so you might not have ever seen this movie, but The Father of the Bride with Steve Martin, and there's a whole scene in it. He's buying hot dogs, and it's the package of amount of hot dogs versus hot dog buns. And so he rips open the hot dog bun package. Is like, I don't need like these 4 because there's only 6 in a package. And then the store clerk comes up to him and is like, sir, you can't do that. He's like, well, why aren't you selling equal packages?
The retired life sounds hard.
I know. Well,
You know, I'm
But
glad you're
it
making her
is
through,
true.
though.
Like, it is annoying that if, especially like we're only 2 people, so if something is a package of 3 or it's a pack like an odd number
It's
package,
never a problem for me. Because I know I get that one.
yeah.
It's a good system we have here.
Because she never knows it's there. Because if you open it up and there's 5 in it, you eat one
On
from
the way
the car
home or
on the way
something
home.
like
And didn't we used to have more of these? Not really.
It was discounted.
It was discounted. Special deal.
Okay, let's read a few questions here on the way out the door.
Okay, so this one is from Mud.
Oh, it sounds like a talented
Just like the
individual.
name, Mud. Mur, what are your top 5 dream cars?
Oh.
We don't have all day.
Well, I'd like me a new Corvette. Never had a Corvette.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a mid-engine?
The new one, yeah.
Ugh.
I'm old now.
I've lost so much respect.
Oh.
Well, maybe if we, BlueChew really takes off
Yeah,
here,
I guess you can see what you can.
we'll get you a blue one.
It'll be
Promo
my-
code DDSS.
We're trying to buy Mur a Corvette.
It'll be my company car.
Can we just rent one? A company car?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm not getting paid. I must get something.
Neither are we. Corvette. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just think everybody should have a Corvette. Never driven the new one?
I think everybody does have a Corvette.
Well-
When I go out there, that's all I see is Corvettes.
And Camaros.
Ugh, who
Yeah,
has a
no,
Camaro?
not a Camaro guy. No,
So
wouldn't want that.
Corvette.
Corvette. BMW convertibles. I like those. That's a nice unit. Ferrari California. That's not the expensive one, but I
Oh,
happen to
that's
like the
nice.
way they look.
Yeah, like the V8
the
front engine
convertible.
ones?
Yeah, the convertible.
They're
one.
kind of neat looking.
They're nice looking type of thing. Yeah. I think probably a G-Wagon Mercedes because we live in the north and you have to have a 4-wheel drive, and then some other kind of a classic sort of a thing. I don't know, maybe one of these,
Oh, I
or
could give you a
I
deal.
get a deal. Some kind of a classic like that, or maybe like a Jag E type. Like from the 60s, those are
nice.
hard to say no to those.
Yeah.
But, so I just choose one, and DDSS will pay for it.
Yes,
Lease
exactly.
it.
we're working on it. Wow, that was not the list I was expecting you to have.
So what's your list then?
Well, I don't even, my list changes daily, but
What is it today?
I want a 70 Chevelle real bad.
Yeah,
Because
you've
you don't
always-
fit in the
always wanted
Camaro?
those, yeah.
Today, so I put these honky tonkin seats in the Camaro there, those ones I low back, whatever.
yeah.
I don't fit in that car. I made custom brackets. The back of the seat is touching the back seat,
And-
and I can't shift it. Like it's driving the Cobra.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, this is terrible. All the way in. Oh, like I should have sat in one of those before I bought 2. Lesson learned.
Well, let's start down the Toyota dealer. See if you fit in the
Yeah,
Prius.
but I probably would. And then so if like from an old car, that's what I'm looking for right now. But I mean, that being said, anything pops up on Facebook tomorrow, there's a good chance I'm going to look at it if I think it's neat. And for a newer car, I want a Hellcat, just because I just love let's cram as much horsepower into a car of whatever and just drive it.
Because you can.
But I think I would lose interest in that immediately.
Yeah.
I think I'd burn a set of tires on it and pay the policeman 2 or 3 times and go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
enough of this. But that's all I would
But
need.
you do have to have something new at least once. Like I know economically it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I bought my new Golf R in 17 because I wanted one forever, and I got it the color I wanted. It was a 6-speed, all the stuff I wanted, and that was fun. It was great to have, but you don't do anything to it. You just drive it.
But even that, I mean, I think if you're, and this is maybe another kind of a side quest here, but if you buy your generic 4-door Toyota, there's a bazillion out there. But that one, you had the nice paint you wanted, and it was a stick and these
Yeah.
things. And when you sold it, you did okay. You didn't
I-
make money.
No, I
but-
did, actually sold it in COVID. Did really well. So I mean, it really cost me $8,000 to drive the thing for 4 years. So I thought that was a pretty
that's
good deal.
fine. And I think the same thing. I mean, even a Hellcat. I mean, maybe buy brand new, but like because I watched the prices, it's not like they're damn near 10 years old now. They got to be, and they're still $60,000 or $70,000.
Yeah.
So, if you buy kind of smart. I mean, especially I think if you're buy it as a stick or whatever like that, I think that's going to hold value better than an automatic. And obviously,
Really?
because they're rarer, I think
But I feel like people don't know how to drive manual.
Which is why they're rarer and worth more money.
But I mean, like you can go to the dealership and I mean, like a Challenger versus a Hellcat Challenger or a regular. You can go buy your generic white 6-cylinder automatic nothing Challenger, and there's a bazillion of those, and they'll be worth nothing at some point or already are. But the Hellcat that was sold the same day, same year, but Hellcat with a 6-speed or whatever they are, I assume 6-speed. That'll be, I think, hold its value way, way better. Even though at time of purchase, I'm sure there's a difference, but the graph is like, you buy them brand new, and the 6-cylinder one is like unbelievable. So, but be smart about it. That was technical. That's Beachonomics.
Somebody's paying a 20% hit as soon as it goes off the showroom floor and whatnot. So if you choose correctly, you can actually do more than that. If you buy the right choice, you get one that's older, and maybe it'll just keep going up.
There you go. What else you got for us?
Jim would like to know
Jimbo.
exhaust sounds, pros and cons.
What's the con? I mean, buy a V8 and you're good.
That's the miracle of modern electronics. You can just decide if you have it nice and quiet because you're driving on the highway and you're commuting, or you can flip the little switch and
I gotta say, your BMW there was loud when you fired up when I was unloading the bike there the other day. It was too loud.
Oh, Grandpa!
I didn't.
damn kids!
I was like, what is this thing?
It's electronically
Sport exhaust.
It's sport exhaust. Well, no, it opens up loud when it's cold, warms up the cat faster, so it can go on to closed loop. So it's an emission thing, and it's fun. I mean, that's not because
who are you trying to fool here? Yeah, it's better for the environment to be loud. I'm going to use that one too. Headers are better for fuel mileage.
Yeah. And it does, shut off after it runs for a minute or so.
Yeah.
Everything closes, that's fine. But you can also turn that back on by just switching it to the sport mode. So you can have the choice of the sound you want, which is great.
I have to change cars for that. I want a quiet car. I'll take this one.
You had electronic.
Yeah, they screwed up.
Muff on something, yeah? Well.
That'll happen.
That'll happen on those big jobs.
So, Murr, folks are very curious about you in your life before being retired. What jobs has Murr had? How did he get so much wisdom?
Oh, I'm just that
Born
guy.
with it.
Yeah, born with something.
Each hair that came out was one more wisdom.
There's been a fair few questions about when the hair loss stopped. I didn't think I'd ask those.
He's licking his foot. Give him a kick.
No
I,
kick, just pets.
Started off when I finished the high school. I got a manufacturing job because at the time they were paying a lot of money, and I lasted a whole 3 weeks doing a repetitive, high-paid, boring, turn your brain to goo job before I said, no, I'm not doing that. And from that, I went and I worked for Canadian Tire for a while as a part-timer and things like that. But I did go to school, get my apprenticeship, and my brother-in-law managed to get me 2 things in my life. One of which was Dan's mom. And he was working on a car and a Volvo, and I got a job through him for Volvo. So I walked across the property line to help him out, and because I couldn't stand him, the third time you put the water pump on, it was still leaking. I couldn't stand it. So I went over there and did that, and then got a Volvo and got married. How about that?
Wow.
So, yeah.
Talk about living the dream.
Yeah.
Top 5 things.
Fortunately, in that era, Volvo was one of the first things to go into fuel injection, 4-wheel disc brakes, a lot of stuff that other cars didn't have. So it was interesting at a time when people in the general trade were going, I don't trust these here electronic ignitions. I don't know if they're going to last and stuff like that. So I had a basis of that and like to learn about things like that, but worked for a kind of a family-run dealership. And you got to a certain point, if you weren't marrying one of the daughters that were all taken, then you're done. So I went in and took my education and started teaching auto mechanics. And that's what I did for the next 30 years. And it was a really rewarding job, sometimes frustrating, but but it's good to help. I like to help people, like to instruct knowledge. You got a bit of that. That you can select.
I chose what I wanted.
A lot of people asked if like Dan was one of your students. You taught at a school on the opposite side of the city from where Dan was.
Yeah.
There's a couple of threats I had to go there every now and again if I didn't do so good. But
So that's
he meant to dodge them bullets.
the short story. Yeah.
And the last 10 years have been the best, though.
The retirement years is the 10 years have been good. I mean, I had a really good job. I enjoyed my job as much as a job can be, but as Dan said, it's a job. It's not called happy, fun time.
That's very true.
You have to put up with that stuff. Whereas the retirement thing is getting close to happy, fun time. So
Well, you do whatever you want every day.
yeah, well, I'm just
Sometimes the pants are on.
Yeah.
Sometimes the pants are off.
No,
You always got to
and-
give a call before you show up at their house.
You can't be too careful.
Well,
And
I
I'm-
appreciate you carving out an hour for me once a week. you
That's
know?
right.
And you're busy
Well,
guy.
I gotta make myself useful, so I get my company car.
Well, you know what? A 2020 Corvette will be affordable one of these days.
One of these days,
I
yeah.
always said that. It might be 30 years old. We'll
Yeah.
get you one.
Yeah, if I live to 106,
It'll be
maybe.
fine.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Well, this will be the last question, just looking at the time here. Lisa would like to know, and this is actually a very
A
popular question we get
A lady
often,
viewer. Oh.
is what shampoo and conditioner does Dan use?
God. Herbal essences. Why do you gotta make me say it out loud?
Tell them the kind,
I like the I like
the color me happy
Yeah,
because
like-
it's pink,
yeah, I like the pink one.
and then the volumizing conditioner.
It's nice for detangling. Wow, this is beat up Dan. That's the question we're ending this on? There's not something that we can look smart about?
Yeah, my friend Lisa wrote it in.
Oh, that Lisa. I got a question for
Well,
her.
I have to say my feeling is a little hurt that they didn't want to
Well,
know.
Mer, what kind of shampoo do you use for your
Barca,
mustache?
whatever's on sale at the store.
All right. Well, that's where we're getting it. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment below. Go to Facebook. That's where you can find all sorts of stuff out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And Mur always likes to hear he's doing a good job. You know,
Well,
so
yeah, it's
support a senior.
Yeah, comment, write something down. You know, this is dumb, this is stupid, this is a good idea. Because I don't know, I have no frame of reference because he has no rules. I mean, I like
would
to
you?
say we'll just wait. I'm keen to see next week how the can opener video does because that will set this on a whole new
Oh,
course.
I'm excited.
Well, and that is, maybe we'll just make a quick editor's note here too, that we are going to Mondays now from Sundays.
Yeah, it's going on Mondays.
So if you're wondering why it's a day late, it's actually on time.
There you go. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.